Legislation is the most consequential and significant legislation for working families that Congress has debated for many, many decades. Now, why is that? And the answer is that, as I think all Americans know, the last year that we have gone through has been in so many ways the very worst year in our lifetimes. That's what it has been. The working families of our country today are hurting in a way that they have not hurt since the Great Depression, and they want their government to hear their pain and come to their aid.
Senator Bernie Sanders forced a vote in the Senate Friday to include a $15 an hour minimum wage increase in the COVID-19 relief bill. What is important to note is that the wage increase failed because 8 Senate Democrats voted against it. Even more important, though, is that even if they had all voted for it, because the vote needed 60 people, instead of just a simple majority because of the filibuster, we are seeing the impact of keeping antiquated rules with origins in protecting white supremacy in place in 2021. Nothing at all important is going to get done in the next 2 to 4 years with the filibuster in place, and that is the fault of Democrats. Okay, watch this clip from Ilhan Omar explaining why these shortcomings are as bad as they are.
I mean, just to be clear, you're saying that Trump wanted to deliver more in the way of checks for Americans than Biden.
Yeah, so the last checks that we were able to send had given 17 million more people than we will ultimately do with the caps now. And that, is going to be something that we're going to have to explain. And I don't know if many of us have a logical explanation on why we are delivering less than what the Republicans were willing to compromise us on delivering on behalf of the American people.
You're facing some headwinds in your own party, on the Senate side, of course, but when it comes to moderate Democrats, that's part of why it got cut down from what you wanted in the House side. What do you say to those Democrats?
I mean, again, I just want to remind them that, you are giving the opportunity to have the majority in the Senate because the people believe that you were going to fight for them. There were promises that were made, and they ultimately have to be kept. We are legislators entrusted to deliver, and, we're not going to be able to blame Republicans for our inability to deliver on the promises that we made. This is just us now negotiating amongst ourselves. The House is controlled by Democrats. The Senate is controlled by Democrats. The White House is in the hands of an administration that is a Democrat. And so, I don't know how this makes any political sense. And it certainly does not make any policy sense.
So as Representative Ilhan Omar said in that clip, there were promises made and they have to be kept. You can't run on getting Trump out of office because he's so bad, which he is, don't get me wrong, but then get into power and deliver less than he did. Then expect people to come around and vote for you come election time. And Democrats have played this game against the electorate for so long, we know this leads to Republicans taking back over Congress. So we have to now openly question the agendas of obstructionist Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, who I'm going to talk about in a second, that are doing nothing but helping the GOP politically. I have a short clip of Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who I just mentioned, which has gone viral over the past 24 hours. Does any logical person think this helps Democrats in 2022 and 2024? Watch.
Miss Sinema, no. Miss Sinema, no. Miss Sinema, no.
So look, I hate taking it here because of how often it's used disingenuously. all over the political spectrum, really. But this is a problem with this is the problem with identity politics and how identity politics have been weaponized. Okay, this is the problem when your entire political calculus revolves around simply having a seat at the table. Okay, you end up with these performative politicians who look like you or share some identity with you, but will do harm to you when in power because they serve the donor class, they serve the oligarchy. I thought Kyrsten Sinema was supposed to be this radical progressive. That's how she was portrayed, at least. Turns out she has just major Karen vibes. I'll end this video here because I don't have much to say about this. But if Democrats cannot pass overwhelmingly popular legislation with majority control, then they're trying to lose. Well, at least some of them. Not all of them, of course, but definitely some who are pretending to be Democrats for political reasons because it helps them in their particular area of the country, but who have the minds of Republicans. They have the minds of conservative Republicans. We should not have to fight this hard for $15 an hour minimum wage, which isn't even a living wage. You know, I could understand a serious fight over like $25 an hour. Not to say we should get that too, but I could understand the fight with the wage being that high. It makes absolutely no sense when it's at $15 an hour, which is the compromise. So they're literally arguing that poverty wages are what's best for you, and it's millionaires doing this. All of the people that voted against this provision, which would have failed anyway, again, like I said, because they didn't have the 60 votes, but everyone that voted against it, all of the Democrats at least, are millionaires. These people have money, you know, and so you have a culture of rich wealth that is telling, you know, poor people, working poor and working class people what's best for them. And it's not $15 an hour. It's $11 an hour. It's $10 an hour. It's something that you can't survive on in most major cities in this country. This is the bare minimum, folks, and they're failing on purpose. I just hope everyone sees through this game that's being played right now by Senate Democrats. And if something doesn't change, we already know the outcome. But my name is Brian Lewis. Like, share, and subscribe.